Hi guys, and welcome to the mill. So this is just a little short apology, really, isn't it, Freya?
It is really. So Dawn and I went to a Coldplay gig. Oh no, wait a minute, that's the wrong apology. So yeah, Dawn and I just wanted to say, sorry we haven't posted anything you haven't heard. Our wonderful voices telling you more about neurodiversity for the last few weeks. That's just because we've been really super busy.
Life has been a bit chaotic recently, hasn't it, Freya?
Less clarity, more chaos.
Yeah, but we are back, and huge apologies. We've had a few people messaging asking why we haven't posted recently, so
which is lovely to know that you guys want to hear from us, and we will endeavour to post more. In fact, at the moment, we are working on a little series for you all. So it is a 3-part series where we talk about what it's like to get a diagnosis and why you might go down that route, what to do immediately after, and then part 3 will be what to do if you're getting a diagnosis for your child or your young person. So we hope you'll join us and listen along with those.
Yes, they're going to be good ones, aren't they, Freya? I'm excited about doing these ones. Yeah,
I think so.
So thank you for your patience, guys.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Chaotic Clarity with myself, Freya, and Dawn, and we are in the mill again today. And today we're talking about something very special, aren't we, Dawn?
We are, Freya, yes. We did a little poll on Instagram, didn't we?
We did.
And one of our viewers, listeners, requested that we did a podcast on autism in teenagers. And we were like, yes, we need to do it. So here we are.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a few different things. And the first thing when I kind of think about autism in teenagers is identity. We're going to think about peer relationships. We're going to think about emotional regulation, becoming independent, and school as well. But before we get into it, we are going to give you our chaotic clarity moment of the week. Dawn.
Yes. So Freya, this is funny, and I've not even told you this yet. So
I'm excited.
Yeah. So this morning, Freya, I bought 3 lambs, and I went to buy said lambs, which you already knew I was getting lambs anyway. And she said, which ones would you like? And there's these beautiful lambs, and they're gorgeous, and they're like show worthy. And then there was one that was actually, they've named him Alien because he was born a bit different. He's got no hair that grows on the top of his head, and his face just looks different to his other brothers and fluffy little springy sisters. So I have bought Alien, yes, and I've also bought a completely black lamb as well because they are not really as loved, are they, for their wool or anything like that. So yeah, I've bought a lamb called Alien, and I'm so excited.
When's Alien arriving?
Well, Alien was going to have his things done today.
Yeah.
So hopefully, well, tomorrow I'd like to say, but yeah, just whenever he's allowed to come. He's only down the road as well, so I can go and get him whenever I want.
So how many are you getting now?
3.
Is it still 3?
Yes, it's 3.
Alien. So you've got Alien, the black one,
and a black and white spotty one, who as of so far have no names. So, but yeah, my clarity moment, I would say, is that I've done really well, and I've waited until the fence is done. So all the fencing's done. Okay, I bought some alpacas in between, but regardless, the fencing is done, and these 3 sheep are just going to fit in like my babies. Oh, and one of them's bottle fed still, by the way. So
wow. And can they live with the alpacas?
Yes. Yeah, they're going to be best friends.
Wow. That's going to be so exciting.
I know. I can't wait.
I love that. I think we'll have to do like a tour of your animals at some point for the podcast so people can see Alien and Brioche and everybody.
But he's so beautiful. He's not ugly like an alien at all.
Are you going to keep calling him Alien, or are you going to change his name?
No, that is his name. I've already decided we're going to keep it.
Fair enough. Fair play.
Yeah. He's so cute. I'm so excited. So Freya, tell me yours.
So it was around my planting again. So you know how I love planting things, and I love planting seeds.
75 sunflowers.
So they're all doing really, really well. Well, a good proportion of them are doing quite well. So I have staked them all out now. So they're all kind of like so that I'm hoping to have a good few that will be quite tall, and a few that will probably be. So some of them are like the teddy bear ones, which are like small and fluffy. So
cute.
They should be quite nice. So yeah, so I was just getting hang of all the different things that I planted, and that was very much my, I said, clarity moment, because everything's kind of, you know, starting to move out of the greenhouse now. But my chaos moment was deciding that I probably needed to plant some more seeds. So I've planted some more seeds.
Yeah.
And so now we have more seeds to look after and think about, and a variety of things. So a few more beans, maybe a cucumber, a pepper.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
there were no more sunflowers. They'd all gone. They'd all
No,
been planted.
sold out in the world.
They
in your
had, yeah,
garden.
they're all me. So yeah, so I like to move, I think, through chaos and clarity with my planting of, right,
Yeah.
we've got everything under control. We don't need anything more.
Yeah.
Maybe
Let's
just a
plant
few
some
more.
more.
Just a few more.
Yeah.
Just a few more. So yeah, so that's kind of, so between animals and plants, we're living a good life.
I know. Do you know what? We'll be fine, won't we?
We
Like,
will. We
yeah.
will. We
Yeah.
will. So back on topic, Dawn. So teenagers. We have both
Yeah.
been teenagers. You have.
Not that long ago.
Oh yes. You have teenagers. And I think one of the first things I wanted to think about was identity, especially in relation to if you are a teenager who has their diagnosis as a teenager, and what that must be like to try to have that experience of making sense of who you are, where you fit in the world, but also trying to kind of do all of that. If your brain does function a little bit different, you have a different set of skills, a different set of interests. It's anything from you, your experiences of your children, Dawn, or your memories of you as a teenager that kind of makes you think about your kind of like your identity, or that time when you were a teenager?
Oh, I really struggled as a teenager, like massively. Actually, weirdly, not with my identity. Everything else, but I don't know if identity is even the right word, but I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I was very headstrong with what I wanted to do when I was older. I hated being a teenager. I hated being a child. Couldn't wait to be an adult because no one took me seriously. I just wanted to be independent. I didn't want to have to ask permission. I didn't want to have to ask for a lift. I wanted to just do what I wanted to do.
Yeah. A little bit of pathological demand avoidance going on there. Perhaps, a little maybe, should we say?
Is it? Oh,
we're not turning this into a diagnosis assessment session, by the way.
But if we were. But yeah, that and I see that in my youngest as well. She hates being a child as well. But then also it's like having to conform, having to wear a uniform, having to, and we've said this in the dopamine dressing, oh, life isn't a fashion show. It is a fashion show, actually. I am obsessed with clothes and all that lot. So having to wear a uniform, I really struggled with as well. So I think being my own boss was never, it was always going to happen because I couldn't conform too much to other people's rules. So I don't know. I didn't really struggle with my identity in that way, but
yeah, it was more around kind of following maybe some of those social expectations, which kind of become quite intense as a teenager, don't you? So if you think about school rules, social rules, the unwritten social rules, which are ever for increasingly complex. And what we see a lot of the time, and I always think of it almost like in my head as a graph, is what we often see is neurotypical children kind of develop their social skills at kind of like this level on a kind of trajectory. And what you start to see is neurodivergent children kind of develop at a different rate. So they actually then, so whereas neurotypical people or teenagers start lying, they start being able to, bitch behind people's backs. They start, being able to joke, sarcasm. What you say isn't always what you mean. It's okay to do this, but it's not okay to do that. All of those muddy, weird social kind of rules that you're beginning to kind of navigate, morals, ethics, all of those things. For a neurodivergent person, you're kind of trying to figure all of that out, and it doesn't. You might not learn through sort of inference or practice alone. You kind of might have to figure some of those things out either by somebody, talking to you through them, or, watching TV shows and figuring it out a lot more explicitly. And it's a lot more hard work. So you can kind of see how sometimes, at primary school, especially bright neurodivergent children, they've kind of managed and they've kept up with their peers. And then at secondary school, you can sometimes see that sort of like that split where it's not necessarily one is better than the other, but there's a split. You have more of that neurodivergent communication and more of that neurotypical communication, and how those two things are different. And I think for me, I always think about it as well, thinking about how those two different styles are, you know, not one is better than the other. Is the experience called the double empathy problem? Have you and I talked about that already on the
No,
podcast?
this is new.
Double empathy problem, again, thinks about social communication from a very different perspective, and rather it being just a deficits perspective. And I like thinking about this when I'm talking to, you know, young people and helping them understand why maybe their social communication skills are different from their peers. So it actually says, so they did a piece of research playing the whisper game. So, you know, I'll whisper to you, you whisper to somebody, and then we see when that whisper changes. Because actually you can notice that, you know, if you had like 10 people in a row, by the time you get to the end, the whisper might start, I like hamburgers, and it might end up, I go to Hamburg on holiday. And it's kind of changed. And the research they did is they sort of had a group of neurotypical people playing the game, and the whisper broke down at around sort of a certain level. And they had a group of neurodivergent people playing the game, and it broke down around the same level. So it was around the same number of people that whisper would start to break down and change. When it was a mixture and you had a neurotypical person whispering to a neurodivergent and you had them every other, the whisper broke down so much sooner.
Wow.
So it wasn't, so what the double empathy theory sort of looks at is it's not that one communication style is superior or better, it's that it's different. So again, if I'm talking to teenagers, I like to talk to them about that and sort of help them understand that it's not that their way of doing things is wrong. It's just maybe they're the minority and they're a little bit different. Sometimes I use the expression of, you know, we've got a lot of PlayStations out there, but you're an Xbox. And sometimes your Xbox games aren't going to fit into the PlayStations. So you're going to have that kind of mismatch. And navigating that, you know, whilst you're having your hormones, whilst you're kind of figuring loads of things out, you're trying to become more independent from your parents. You're figuring out your gender identity, your sexual identity, all of those things.
Trying to be sociable, trying to fit in, study for exams.
Mask, camouflage.
Absolutely,
And we can often see as well, that's why a lot of neurodivergent young people sometimes can, you know, can get into sometimes trouble or bother because they don't always recognise when people have their best interests at heart or don't have their best interests at heart. They're not maybe able to kind of recognise that maybe, you know, that older person who's asking me to do the thing that's maybe not the thing that I would do on my own is maybe sort of pressuring me to do something, and it's really important for me to fit in, so I will do that thing in order to fit in with that group, because fitting in is better than being alone. So there's so many things that all teenagers have to navigate, but neurodivergent teenagers I think have an extra layer of maybe barriers or difficulties that sometimes they have to overcome.
And I think female teenagers as well, because we know anyway, don't we, from research as well, that females do have to fit in more.
There's a lot of social expectations on
really
females. Smile, be nice, be caring.
Speak when spoken to and all that lot. And
don't be boisterous. Don't be energetic.
Don't be too
gentle.
Honest. Don't be hurtful. Don't be
Don't be ambitious. All of
Yeah.
those things that are kind of ingrained into society as our cultural norms. So as a neurodivergent girl, if you are then, you know, an ambitious girl who really wants to learn about science and you're really bright, but none of your friends are interested in it because they're all interested in makeup, and you're kind of going, I really want to, you know, want to. And then it's that kind of balance. What do I do? Do I spend time with my friends doing something that I'm not really that interested in?
But I'll fit in and they'll like me.
But I'll fit in, they'll like me, I'll do the things, I'll wear the makeup, I'll do the clothes, or do I do the thing that actually brings me joy and passion?
And as a teenager, you're not probably emotionally there yet to know the right and the wrong answer.
Oh my goodness.
It's just in the moment. I just need to do what they're doing then, because otherwise I'm going to be on my own. And nobody wants that, do they?
No. And if you think about, we've talked about emotional regulation a little bit already on one of our previous podcasts. But again, if we think about emotional regulation in teenagers, all teenagers have very strong and big emotions. Anybody that's been a teenager or been around teenagers, I'm sure you have many stories, Dawn, of either yourself or your children. But I think it's that emotional regulation as well. We know that you know, neurodivergent people feel their emotions more intensely. So you're kind of taking intense emotions and adding extra intensity, which can kind of be just really tough for teenagers to handle and kind of manage.
Absolutely, yeah. What were you like as a teenager, Freya?
So what I always think was interesting, and I reflect back on it with a smile now, is a lot of people used to say I talked with an American accent as a teenager. And one of the things is it's an unofficial thing, but when you're diagnosing children, is you can often sort of hear like a bit of an American accent. And I kind of look back on that in quite a sort of friendly or kind of amusing way now, because probably I was doing a lot of just mimicking what I was seeing on television to be a teenager. So if you'd have seen me as a teenager, I was probably kind of just imitating Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Absolutely loved Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I did. Blue Peter.
Yeah.
Blue Peter even when I was 16.
And doing all the crafting and all of those things. So yeah, I think there was an element. I can remember being in school and thinking, this is how I have to act here. Or this is this is, you know, this is the right thing to do. Whether it felt like me or not me. But that's how I was, that's kind of what was expected of you doing it in that day. And we should just say as well that Dawn and I actually did go to the same school.
We did.
Although we didn't know each other.
No. I was in the year below.
I don't think you were, Dawn.
Okay, I was in the year above. I knew you were going to get that in, so I
so much younger than you, Dawn. I'm so much younger, like a whole 12 months.
Like a whole... No.
Yeah, because you're April.
Yeah.
So I'm April.
Yeah, but you were born on the... 12 months and 3 days or 4 days older.
I wasn't going to do the whole day.
Yeah, I was going to do days. Sorry. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, I won't do days.
You can do days. You can do days. I love it.
But we did go to the same school, didn't we? I can't believe we didn't know each other. It wasn't meant to be, was it?
It wasn't. We were meant to reconnect and be neurodivergent weird adults.
40-something-year-olds.
Love that. I was going to say, if we thinking about us as teenagers, what do you remember in terms of like executive functioning, Dawn? So things like, like managing, planning, sequencing, organising, all of those bits. Because again, I know you've got loads of strategies now that you've developed as an adult, but for a teenager, those things can be super tricky.
Yeah, and I just remember the pressure because I was, 12, 13, whatever, because I was old enough to know better. You know that line?
Yeah.
And if I forgot something, which I was constantly in isolation, which actually should be illegal if it still goes on, like it should be illegal. Like that's awful. But I was always in isolation for forgetting my homework. In fact, I never did it. Because the second I would leave school, it wouldn't like even be on my brain to do it. And I'd never ever remember my PE kit. PE was my favourite lesson as well.
You see, I hated PE.
I liked it, but I hated it by the end because you had to wear little shorts.
Oh, the cycling shorts. So
it was awful.
They were so awful. So my mum in year 7, so in our first 2 weeks at the school, I decided I was going to join the hockey team.
Oh, yes.
I don't know why. I'm not sporty, but probably everyone else is joining the hockey team.
You were fitting in.
I will join the hockey team. Yeah. So my mum bought me a whole new PE kit, the hockey skirt, the hockey long socks, the jumper, everything.
All the gear.
We then, no idea. We then stayed late one night after school to practice the hockey and to have an extra hockey lesson and all of those things. And then after the lesson, we did some kind of other things, which at point I took off the long socks, the hockey skirt, the jumper and everything, put them by the hockey goal.
Yeah.
Never to be seen again. Week 2, I think it was. And got home and my mum was like, where's all your hockey stuff? And I was like, oh!
Sorry, Mum, it's by the goal.
And then, of course, it was never there the next day.
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Did you have to buy all new?
I think what we did is I borrowed, and then I decided that actually probably hockey wasn't for me. I didn't particularly like the running around.
Yeah. I know. I wouldn't have liked hockey. I just used it as a free lesson.
Yeah. But I think for me, that is something when I reflect back on that and think about teenagers now, how much they've got to remember in terms of the school day. So they've got to remember their kits, their pens, their papers, their homework, all of those things. So I always think as well, be kind to your teenagers, because they're probably trying their best to remember all of those things, and actually they're probably not super motivated to remember all those things. And their executive functioning, as a teenager won't be fully developed. As a neurodivergent teenager, they're always going to struggle with it.
Yeah.
So as a parent, I think try to kind of, one, be kind to them when they mess up, because they're going to mess up.
Yeah.
That's just going to be part of it. And two, think about how you can cope strategies at home that make their life easier. So one parent that I kind of worked with once, she talked about drop zones in their house, and I thought that was just a brilliant idea. So she would have like a drop zone for the bag, a drop zone for the PE kit, a drop zone for different, like for homeworks. So the young person didn't have to think too much about where things would be. It was an easy place, it wasn't putting things away. It was just like drop zones where things could go, and then the mum would kind of support that. And if you are parenting an autistic or an ADHD or neurodivergent teenager, your parenting kind of responsibilities in terms of your child's independence are probably going to be a little bit longer. You're probably going to have to do some more of those things that you're going to need to kind of support them a little bit longer with, because they're going to struggle to develop some of those skills.
And the chances are also that the parents are going to be neurodivergent as well. So if the kid's forgetful, the mother's got no chance.
So you're going to have layers of neurodiversity in the family. I'm just smiling now as well, because I'm thinking about kind of like, the when does the independent, or when do you as a parent then start to let that neurodivergent child fly and do their own thing? And I was just thinking, my mum still helps me with my ironing, because iron is not a kind of skill that I have. It's not a strength that I have. So shout out to all the mums out there, especially my mum, who helps and does all of those things, because I think and dads, because it's parenting any teenager is tricky. Parenting a neurodivergent teenager can be an extra tricky job sometimes.
No, definitely. So my son, interestingly, carries everything with him at all times in his bag.
That's a good strategy.
He's done that by himself, by the way, because he knows that he will never forget anything, because he can't remember things. He just doesn't have that ability right now. So he just takes everything. It weighs 3.5 tons, his bag. I'm like, what the heck? Honestly, it weighs an actual ton, and he never forgets anything then. He's always got it in his bag.
It's always with him.
Every book, his PE, like everything is always in his bag.
Yeah. That's a good strategy.
I know, it is. And he came up with that by himself, bless him.
That is a good strategy.
Yeah.
How have you sort of, as a mum, how have you sort of managed kind of like those independent sort of struggles where, young people want to do more on their own, but actually still recognise the help that they need? How have you kind of navigated that?
So the rule in our house is, if they ask for it, they get it. I can encourage or whatever, but I don't actually think that works, because they're not going to do it until they're ready. And if my youngest, when she was 10, can I walk to school by myself? That's not safe, is it? But what I did say was, you can walk in front and I'll walk behind with the dogs. I'll just be 10 steps. You can do whatever. She never did it in the end, by the way. She couldn't be bothered because it was raining. And then she wanted to walk to the park one day. Okay, that's fine. You can walk to the park. So I stayed by the tree. She walked to the park, and then she bummed it back because she changed her mind. She got too scared. And I knew that would happen. And now she doesn't ask, because she's tried it and she didn't really like it. And so that's kind of what I've done with mine. And then, my eldest, up until 2 years ago, people would probably say that she wasn't independent, and now she's 19, nearly 20, and she's a super independent. She's driving, she's got her own job, like she's just brilliant. And I just think they all get there in the end. And so that's kind of what I do. When they ask to do it, I allow them to do it.
Give them that safe opportunity.
Safely, obviously, safely.
Brilliant. No, I really like that. And I also really like, one of the things you said there about is everyone gets them their own time, is kind of as a parent, shifting your mindset of expectations. When should they be doing this? When
comparison.
All the other 15-year-olds can do this, but my 15-year-old can't. Well, actually, your 15-year-old might be able to do something that the other 15-year-olds can't. So everyone's going to develop at their own pace. They're all going to have their own skills. I really like thinking about that as thinking about each child as an individual.
And when they ask, can I go out on my own? Can I do this? Can I do that? The answer's always, of course it is. Of course you can, as long as it's safe. That's all I say. Parties, drinking, they're all going to do that.
It's going to happen.
Of course it is, and I'm okay with that. But we talk about it, and as long as there's rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tesney was actually 17 when she went out to her first party, so I was quite lucky, I think. Kelly isn't interested, and well, Poppy will probably be out in parties next year knowing that one.
But I think one of the other things there that you kind of just sort of touched on as well, which is so important, is that open communication that you've got with your children.
Most important thing ever.
Most important for teenagers is having that ability to be able to kind of check in with you, ask those questions, have that honest dialogue. I think that's really important, so you can kind of explore together. And as a parent, you won't always have the answers, but that's okay.
It's the biggest rule in my house. Honesty. You have to be honest with me. I know they're going to tell white lies, and that's fine. I know by looking at their face that they're lying. You know, they can say whatever, and I just know. But where you're going, what time you're going to be home, who you're going with, those kind of things, or come to me with any issue. I am never going to be in. You're never going to be in trouble. I'm never going to judge. And to be fair, that is one thing that my children have all said, is that they love it that they can tell me anything. And I don't get cross. Ever. So, I mean, you know, depends what they're saying. But no, I don't get cross. And honesty is very important. Very important. There's nothing worse than a lonely teenager going through stuff in their room. They feel like they can't communicate or interact with their parents, or, you know, it's just heartbreaking to think that.
And I think that is, you know, home needs to be, for a lot of our neurodivergent teenagers, their safe place, doesn't it? You know, they go to school where they're expected to do things all the time, that, you know, they're having to listen. If they have ADHD, that's a struggle. If they are autistic, they're having to present a certain way. You know, all of these things that are kind of like barriers to, or just making the school day really, really exhausting. So having, you know, taking away some of those pressures when you get home, having that safe space, having that ability to kind of do that, I think that's a really good thing. You might do this already, Dawn, but I know, you know, having worked with lots of different parents of different teenagers, is thinking about the varying types of communication. Obviously, some teenagers love to talk, but some teenagers would prefer to text. And I've seen parents who are going, well, I'm not texting them. Well, actually, if that's how they're going to talk to you, then text them. You know, if that's easy for them, if they want to write letters, if you want to kind of leave things, you know, don't. Sometimes I also think about, you know, communication in almost like an accidental thing. If I want somebody to know something, I might leave a leaflet or a pamphlet or a book or something, you know, to help them know these things are here if you want to know them. If you want to talk to me about them, I'm here. So you can kind of honour that, you know, your young person's communication style.
Do you know our favourite one, Freya? This is quite random, but maybe popular, I don't know. When we're doing the washing up, we don't have a dishwasher. You've seen my kitchen, it's teeny tiny. We don't have a dishwasher. We have a sink and a tap. So I always do the washing up, and then whoever's next to me does the drying, and then there's two on the end that does the putting away. And I can't tell you how important washing up time is. Steve goes, I'll do the washing up. I go, no, I'm doing it. He goes, oh, okay. And you know, I think because there's no eye contact, because there's no pressure of me looking at them or them looking at me or whatever,
it's that sort of parallel side by side.
Things that come out, like we've all been crying before now whilst doing washing up, talking about hurtful things that they've heard or things that have gone on, or, you know, just anything. And washing up time for me, it doesn't get, maybe like once a week we're all together doing it, but it's really important. I hope they don't listen to this because they'll know my strategy now, but it's okay. I don't think they will listen to it.
It's all right. But I think going in the car as well is another one. You know, going in the car, because it's something where you're having that side by side interaction, which takes the eye contact, takes that pressure off. So those side by side conversations can be so helpful, and thinking about it, and that, again, just taking some of that pressure off as well, because, you know, there's so much pressure on teenagers with social media now, with phones, with all of those things, and just taking off some of that pressure is so helpful. Anything else we need to think about? There's probably a million things. We could probably do so much more on teenagers, but if we finish up there for now.
That was it was a good lot. And if we've missed anything in particular that anybody would like to know about,
please put in the comments.
Because even if it's specific things, we'd love to talk about that too, wouldn't we?
We would indeed. Well, maybe we can do teenagers part 2.
Yes, 3, 4 and 5.
Stay tuned. It's been great talking today, Dawn. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.